Welcome to the realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Enjoy listening. Carl Clark had never experienced such tension during his years of service at the station. The usual hum of focused productivity had been replaced with an uneasy silence, and for the first time, Carl noticed his colleagues looking genuinely frightened. When he asked them what was going on, no one provided an answer. The tight-lipped nature of their responses only heightened his unease. Determined to find out the truth, Carl stepped outside the central hub of the station. What he saw chilled him to the core. People were fleeing. Scientists, technicians, and even security personnel were abandoning their posts, their faces pale with fear. Carl didn't understand why they were running, but he knew one thing for certain: he couldn't join them. He was a guard. This station was his responsibility, and he had a duty to protect it no matter the cost. Carl turned back and re-entered the station. The once busy hallways were eerily quiet. Picking up his master key, he decided to lock down the main doors as a precautionary measure in case of an attack. But just as he approached the console, a melodious voice called out from behind him. "Hey, if you turn around and look at me, I'll show you the flowers. If you don't, well, then your life will be safe." Carl froze. The voice belonged to a woman, an alien woman, judging by its unearthly cadence. His heart raced as he processed the warning. He didn't dare turn around, already sensing the danger she posed. A moment of silence passed, and then Carl spoke, his voice steady but firm. "I know everyone ran away from you," he said. "But I didn't. I'm still here. I don't know what you're planning, but whatever it is, don't harm us. I'll listen to you. I'll try to understand." The woman laughed softly, her tone laced with amusement. "Carl Clark, I know who you are, but you don't know me. Do you know what's most painful? The fact that I will do whatever I want here, and you won't even realize it until it's too late. You know the rule, don't you? If you turn around to face me, you'll experience unforgettable moments. But if you don't, well, your survival is guaranteed." Carl clenched his fists, his frustration mounting. Despite his tall, muscular frame and years of training, he felt powerless against this alien's cryptic taunts. He took a deep breath, forcing himself to remain calm, and asked, "What do you want? Why are you here? What do you gain by terrifying people?" The woman's laughter faded and her tone grew cold. "What I want? The truth, Carl. The secrets your station hides, the ones you're all so desperate to protect. I'm here for that." Carl frowned, confusion flickering across his face. "Secrets? This is a research station. There are no secrets here." The woman tilted her head, her melodic voice taking on a mocking edge. "Oh, poor Carl. You really don't know, do you? People like you guard things without ever understanding what they're protecting. There's a hidden section in this station, one even you aren't aware of. That's where they keep the information. The knowledge that destroyed my planet's history." Her words struck a nerve. Carl felt a surge of doubt. Could she be telling the truth? Was there more to the station than he had been told? "This has nothing to do with me," Carl said finally. "Why drag me into this?" The woman took a step closer. "It has everything to do with this station and therefore with you. Your colleagues ran because my team scared them off. We don't fight with brute force, Carl. We understand minds, fears, and weaknesses. That's how we win without lifting a finger. No one was harmed, only frightened into submission. If you had seen my face, you would have run too." Carl gritted his teeth. "Your superiority is nothing more than spreading fear," he said through clenched teeth. The woman shrugged, unbothered. "Call it what you like, Carl Clark. I don't have time for a debate. I'm going to the depths of the station to get what I came for. You can either stand in my way or follow your friends and run. The choice is yours." Carl stared at her, his mind racing. He knew he had to act, but how could he stand against someone so formidable? Her confidence was unsettling, and her cryptic remarks only deepened the mystery surrounding her. Before he could respond, the woman added one final warning. "You're lucky, Carl. Lucky that you haven't seen my face. Now move aside. Unless, of course, you'd like to see what happens when I stop being generous." With a heavy heart, Carl stepped aside. The woman, whose name he would later learn was Noxa, walked past him and disappeared into the depths of the station. Her presence left an unsettling silence in her wake. Carl didn't stay idle for long. As Noxa infiltrated the station's hidden sections, bypassing high-security doors and accessing classified files, Carl worked on a plan. By the time she returned to the main hall, a small device filled with stolen data in hand, the tables had turned. Noxa stepped into the room and froze. The weapons her team had carried were scattered across the floor. Her team was gone. In the center of the room stood Carl, his expression calm but resolute. He held a weapon, its barrel pointed at her. Noxa narrowed her eyes. "What did you do? How did you?" "How I did it doesn't matter," Carl interrupted. "What matters is that you're alone now. No team, no backup. Just you and me. So, tell me, Noxa, what's your next move?" Noxa's confidence faltered for the first time. She stepped closer, her sharp gaze locked on his. "You think this changes anything? You're just a man. You can't stop me." "Maybe not," Carl said, "but I can stop you from leaving. So, make your choice." For a long moment, neither of them moved. Then, to Carl's surprise, Noxa smiled, a small, enigmatic smile that carried both defiance and intrigue. She lowered her weapon and took a step closer, her voice softening. "You could kill me right now, Carl. But where's the fun in that? I have a better idea." Before Carl could react, Noxa closed the distance between them and kissed him. The gesture was unexpected, and for a moment, Carl was too stunned to respond. When she pulled back, her gaze was softer but no less intense. "Think about it, Carl Clark," she murmured. "A dead enemy or a companion who can make your life much more interesting?" Carl struggled to steady his racing heart. He knew better than to trust her, but her words lingered in his mind. After a tense silence, he lowered his weapon and took a step back, keeping his gaze locked on her. Noxa's sharp, alien features were unreadable, her glowing, slit-pupil eyes observing him with an almost predatory intensity. "You hesitate, Carl Clark," she said softly, her voice carrying a strange melody that seemed to vibrate in the air around them. "That hesitation speaks volumes. What is it you fear more, me or what I represent?" Carl took a deep breath, trying to clear his thoughts. He had been trained for countless scenarios, but nothing had prepared him for this. A confrontation not just with an enemy but with his own sense of duty, morality, and perhaps curiosity. "I don't fear you," he replied firmly, "but I don't trust you either. You've already disrupted the station, manipulated my colleagues, and now you're trying to manipulate me. I need answers, Noxa. Why here? Why now? What is it that you really want?" Noxa tilted her head, a faint smile tugging at her lips. "You're more inquisitive than I expected. Most humans would have succumbed to fear or anger by now. But you hold on to your composure, like it's a shield. Fascinating." She stepped closer, her movements fluid and deliberate. Carl held his ground, though every muscle in his body tensed in preparation for what might come next. "I've already told you part of the truth," she continued. "I came for the information buried in this station's archives. Data about my people, my home. Data that your kind has hoarded, studied, and hidden away like some forbidden treasure. But it's not just information I seek, it's justice. Do you know what your superiors have done, Carls?" Her words hit him like a punch to the gut. Justice. That single word carried so much weight, so much emotion. Carl had served aboard the station for years, believing in its mission of exploration and discovery. But now, doubts began to creep into his mind. "If there's something I need to know, then tell me," he demanded. "Enough with the riddles." Noxa's expression hardened. "You humans came to our star system decades ago, promising peace and cooperation. Instead, you took what you wanted, resources, technology, knowledge, and when we resisted, you left scars on our world that may never heal. This station," she gestured around them, "is a monument to your kind's arrogance. It holds the evidence of those crimes, neatly cataloged and hidden away. And I intend to make sure my people know the truth." Carl clenched his fists, a mix of anger and guilt swirling within him. He wanted to deny her accusations, to claim that humanity was better than that. But deep down he knew there was a possibility she was right. He had seen classified files, caught snippets of conversations that hinted at actions far removed from the noble ideals they claimed to uphold. "You think exposing the truth will fix everything?" Carl asked. "What about the chaos it could cause? The wars it might spark?" Nox's eyes blazed with intensity. "And what of the chaos your kind has already caused? What of the lives lost, the worlds devastated? The truth may be painful, but it is necessary. Without it, there can be no accountability, no change." Carl took a step forward, his voice firm. "But at what cost, Noxa? You said yourself that you're not here to hurt anyone. Yet your actions today have already caused harm. Fear, confusion, distrust, those aren't the tools of someone seeking justice. They're the tools of someone seeking revenge." Her expression faltered for the briefest moment, and Carl saw a flicker of something, hesitation, regret, or perhaps doubt. It was enough to give him a glimmer of hope. "If you really believe in justice," he continued, "then work with us. Don't turn this into a battle of us versus you. Help me understand what happened, and maybe we can find a way forward together." Nox's eyes narrowed, her melodic voice dropping to a whisper. "You think it's that simple? That I could trust you or anyone here after everything that's been done? You're either naive or incredibly bold, Carl Clark." He met her gaze without flinching. "Maybe a bit of both. But I'd rather take that chance than let this spiral into something we can't undo." For a long moment, silence stretched between them. Nox's piercing gaze bore into him, as if she were trying to read the truth of his soul. Finally, she let out a soft, bitter laugh. "You're an enigma, Carl. A human who refuses to run, who refuses to give in. I didn't expect to find someone like you here." She took a step back, her movements slower now, less threatening. "But it's too late for your idealism. I've already done what I came here to do. The data is mine, and I won't leave without it. You've shown courage, and for that I'll give you a choice. Stand aside and let me leave peacefully, or try to stop me and risk everything." Carl's mind raced. He knew she wasn't bluffing. Her capabilities far exceeded his own. And yet, something about her tone, her demeanor, suggested that she didn't want this confrontation any more than he did. "Fine," he said at last, his voice steady. "Take the data and go. But know this, Noxa, if you ever return here or harm another innocent person, I'll be ready for you." Noxa's smile returned, softer this time. "You intrigue me, Carl Clark. Perhaps in another life, things could have been different between us." She turned and began to walk away, her lithe form disappearing into the shadows of the station. Carl watched her go, his chest heavy with conflicting emotions. He had won, in a sense, but the cost of that victory weighed on him. The station was intact, his colleagues safe, but the truth Noxa had revealed would haunt him for a long time to come. As the doors closed behind her, Carl took a deep breath and prepared to face whatever consequences awaited him. He knew one thing for certain. This encounter was only the beginning.